In the cracked sidewalks and cramped row houses of Philadelphia's Strawberry Mansion, a boy named Gil Turner learned early that life would hit hard, but he could hit back harder. Born on October 9, 1930, Turner grew up with two older brothers, a mother named Jeanette who'd prayed for him, and a father, Leon Shorty Turner, who punched a clock in the mailing department of the Pennsylvania Railroad. For most kids on the block, the future came one of two ways: through the front door of the church or the back door of a police wagon. For Gil Turner, both had their pull. He'd gotten into his share of scrapes with the law, but fate had its own left hook. One day a friend took him into the Police Athletic League gym, where he came under the watchful eye of boxing trainer Willie Reddish. From that first day that I had gloves on my hands, Turner said, I loved boxing. When I began to fight in tournaments and win bouts, I knew I was going to take boxing for my career. With his parents' permission, Turner left Benjamin Franklin High School and stepped into the rougher classroom of amateur boxing. The syllabus was brutal: daily sparring sessions with Honeychild Johnson and Otis Graham. When he wasn't training, he helped his grandfather with plastering jobs, working by day, fighting by night, and dreaming of a ring lit brighter than any streetlight in Strawberry Mansion. And success came quickly. Turner won the Golden Gloves, the Diamond Belt, and the AAU crown in rapid succession. He was polite and humble, a quiet young man who led prayers before bouts and carried his Bible everywhere, either in his hand or tucked neatly in his suitcase. It was his mother's influence. Jeanette Turner never once came to see her son fight. Her faith couldn't reconcile violence with glory, but she kept a personal scrapbook on all of his fights, having the ability to name each and every one of his opponents and how he defeated them. Turner signed with the management team of George Katz and Joe Granby, who believed he was now polished enough to turn pro. Katz even made sure Jeanette Turner signed a clause in Gil's contract. The first time her boy fought for a world title, she'd have to come to watch. Gil's first pro fight earned him $100, which he deposited straight into the bank. It wasn't much, but to a kid from Strawberry Mansion, it felt like a down payment on destiny. Capable journeymen like Massimo Sana, Bobby Rosado, and Jimmy DeSerio all became notches on his record. After less than a year as a pro, he stepped in against Bo Jack, the former lightweight champ known for his bolo punches and relentless pace. Turner was a 6-5 underdog, but he fought like a man who didn't care about odds. For 10 brutal rounds, he overwhelmed Jack, earning a one-sided decision. 1 month later, they had a rematch where Turner stopped Jack in the 8th round. He didn't just beat the former champion, he destroyed him. Philadelphia took notice. So did the national press. More than one reporter compared him to Sugar Ray Robinson. Others called him the best prospect the game had seen in years. And for a moment, Gil Turner looked like the next man in line for greatness. By the time Gil Turner was matched with former title challenger Charlie Fusari, the whispers were getting louder. His manager, George Katz, was being accused of rushing the kid, pushing him too far, too fast. Fusari had the kind of resume that made Jim Walls go quiet. Taller, heavier, and 7 years wiser in the dark art of the sweet science. On paper, it wasn't a fair fight, but Gil Turner didn't live on paper. That night, he tore through Fusari like a man trying to erase doubt itself. Round after round, he forced the veteran backward, pounding away with a relentless rhythm. By the 11th, Fusari's body couldn't keep its fatigue a secret any longer. The referee counted him out, and Turner had his biggest win yet, over a man he would later call the toughest he ever faced. 13 months as a pro. That's all it took for Turner to go from promising to proven. The purse for Fusari, $12 grand, was life-changing money for a kid who used to sweep up plaster dust for his grandfather. He bought his parents a house in Philadelphia, then opened a luncheonette for his mother to run. She'd never watched him fight, but now she had a business paid for by his fists. And the streak kept going. Turner stopped former lightweight champion Ike Williams, a man who was outboxing him until fatigue turned into a fatal error. Turner caught him, broke him, and finished him in the 10th. Then came a parade of contenders: Bernard Dukeson, Mario Trigo, Vic Cardell, Del Flanagan, all of them defeated, one after another, under the bright lights and heavy hands of the Bible-toting man from Philadelphia. When he met Cuban contender Chico Verona, the fight nearly went the other way. A third-round bomb left Turner glassy-eyed and dazed, the kind of punch that makes seconds feel like hours. But he gathered himself, came roaring back, and stopped Verona 3 rounds later. When they asked him about it afterward, Turner blinked and said, half confused, that he thought the fight had ended in the third. Verona, he admitted later, hit me harder than anyone ever has. By now, Philadelphia's faithful filled bars and barbershops, insisting that Turner's time had come, that he'd earned a shot at Kid Gavilan's welterweight crown. "I'm ready for Gavilan," Turner said. "Bring him on." The fight was set for July 7th, 1952, his mother's birthday. For years, Jeanette Turner had promised never to watch her son fight, but a clause in his contract had made sure that when he finally got his title shot, she'd be there. So she was, sitting ringside in a crowded arena, watching the boy she'd raised with scripture and supper step into the ring under the brightest lights of his life. Turner came in as an 11-5 underdog, but Philadelphia believed. Doctors and business leaders alike bought ringside seats. For one humid summer night, the city held its breath, certain that the kid from Strawberry Mansion was about to write himself into history. Turner came out swinging, fast, mean, alive. He dug short lefts into Gavilan's ribs, and the crowd started to believe maybe tonight was the night the boxing gods took a nap. But Gavilan wasn't just a man. He was rhythm made flesh. He slid back, countered clean, smiled like he'd been here before. Turner didn't care. He just kept coming, kept walking through the leather storm, neither man giving an inch. Round 2, more of the same. Turner's left hand pumped into Gavilan's gut like a piston. The champ wound up that famous bolo punch and caught Turner square in the midsection. The kid doubled over, then came back mad, ripping off a storm of rights and lefts until both men were throwing like lunatics. Machine gun stuff. Wild, beautiful. The crowd stood, screaming, as fists blurred into sound. By the third, Turner found his jab. He used it like a carpenter's hammer. Nothing fancy, just steady, honest work. Gavilan danced around, smiling, bleeding, hard to tell under those lights. They traded to the body. Nobody blinked. Nobody gave ground. Round 4, Turner stalking, Gavilan circling. A red slit opened over the champ's left eye. Turner saw it and charged, throwing both hands, trying to drown the veteran in momentum. Gavilan dug back, ribs, kidneys, lungs, all the invisible places a man can ache. Turner stood there, taking it, giving it, both of them caught in the grind. By the 5th, Turner was beating the champ to the punch. A right to the jaw, 2 lefts to the cheek. But Gavilan came alive again, landing a right that would have cracked most men in half. Turner reeled, then came right back, swinging. The ref took a point for a low blow, but the fight was being scored in willpower, not numbers. By the 6th, Turner slowed. Gavilan jabbed him, teaching lessons you don't learn in a gym. Still, Turner kept walking forward, throwing hands, daring fate to blink first. Round 7 slowed to a grind. Body shots thudded through the smoke. In the 8th, Turner found another gear, trying to push the champ back. Gavilan met him with lefts to the face, a short right to the jaw. Between rounds, Turner's manager George Katz complained about grease on Gavilan's skin. The ref shrugged. By the 10th, Gavilan's left hook was poetry. Mean poetry. Turner's jaw snapped back again and again, but he kept marching, trying to make a fist big enough to punch destiny in the teeth. Then came the 11th. Turner came out like a man chasing ghosts, throwing everything he had left. Wild hooks, desperate crosses, prayers disguised as punches. But Gavilan had found the rhythm again. Each shot cleaner, louder. Turner stumbled to the ropes, tried to punch back. Gavilan hit him again, and again, until Turner's mouthpiece hung like a white flag from his lips. The referee stopped it at 2 minutes and 47 seconds of the round. It was over. Gavilan still had his crown. Turner still had his heart. And the crowd, still on its feet, knew they'd seen something unforgettable. The kind of fight that makes heroes, even in defeat. When the referee waved it off, Turner's mother exhaled like a prayer answered. "Things happen for a reason," Jeanette said. "He'll be back." Turner believed it too. He took a brief vacation after the Gavilan loss, not to celebrate, but to think. He was sure the defeat had come from too much, not too little. 5 weeks in camp, over 100 rounds sparred. Gavilan, the champion, had boxed just 65. Turner called it overtraining. He swore the next time would be different. But boxing, like life, never quite delivers the same second chance. 2 months later, Turner dropped a split decision to Bobby Dykes. Close enough to sting. He came back strong, beating Joe Michelli after surviving a brutal first round. He evened the score with Dykes in a rematch, only to be blindsided by Joey Girardello, a 3-1 underdog who caught him sleeping. Then came the undefeated Johnny Saxton, slick, elusive, and unbeaten. The rising contender everyone said was going places.
Round 1, Turner with a white stripe. In the second and third rounds, both men score with hard punching, but neither can gain an edge. Now the fourth round of this fight between Gil Turner of Philadelphia and Johnny Saxton of New York here at Comet Stadium, Philadelphia. Turner against the ropes. Punch of the fight so far. Turner's hurt. That right uppercut caught him flush on the jaw. Turner seems to have recovered from that stunning blow. Johnny Saxton's had 40 fights. He's never been defeated. He's had 1 draw. He scored 17 knockouts. He's a favorite tonight. Round 4. Saxton again outpunches Turner with clever boxing. Now round 6. Both men have beautiful defenses. They catch a lot of the punches on their arms and shoulders, and they slip a lot of them just by moving their heads a little bit to the right or left. End of round 6. In the 7th, 8th, and 9th rounds, Saxton lets Turner do most of the leading. Saxton boxing and counterpunching against Turner's attack. Now the 10th and final round of this fight between Gil Turner and Johnny Saxton here at Connie Mack Stadium, Philadelphia. Fight is very close up to now. Both men have scored well, hit hard, and there's been plenty of action. The most effective blow was Saxton's right uppercut in the 4th round that stunned Turner. The end of the fight. There's quite a bit of confusion among the officials. In only 2 rounds has there been complete agreement, the 6th and the 8th, and both of them went to Turner. Saxton gets the nod from the referee, but Turner gets the vote of both judges. Gil Turner wins the fight by split decision.
Turner received no rest between wars. A month later, he faced Johnny Lombardo in a rematch, getting battered in the 3rd before clawing back to take the decision. 3 weeks after that, it was Ramon Fuentes, another rugged spoiler with too much chin and not enough fear.
That's Turner in the black trunks and a nice close-up of the action in Madison Square Garden. Both fighters weigh 151 pounds. Both have sparkling records as they meet for the first time in New York. Fuentes, a very aggressive man in the white trunks, has lost only 1 fight in his 24 professional bouts. And his only loss was a close one to Kid Gavilan, the welterweight champion. That fight was in Milwaukee just a month before tonight's fight in the Garden. As for Turner, 41 pro fights and 40 wins, 28 of them by knockouts. 2 good men with 2 good records. Note this unusually fast opening pace. Likes to clobber with that right hand, Turner does. Turner holds his gloves high. Fuentes holds his slightly lower. Fuentes in the white trunks, Gil Turner in black, 2 very fine welterweights, putting on a beautiful battle in New York. That opening round went to Fuentes, but the next 3 minutes are to see the slugging Gil Turner even the score. 4, 5, 8, 10 punches sometimes without a let-up. Turner's very rough in the infighting. Note that Fuentes sometimes, through that hurricane of blows, he merely just covers up and waits to ride it out. Then he's ready to throw something back when he can. Both these men have impressive knockout records. Ringside view. Gil likes to pin his man against the rope. Stay in there, boy, where I can belt you. boys in the trade would call a busy mechanic. And Turner is out in the black trunks for round 3 against Ramon Fuentes. The fans are seeing a brilliant match tonight. Fuentes, though the underdog, has shown himself willing and able to trade punches with the powerful Turner. Both of the fighters, though normally welterweights, are fighting as middleweights tonight, each of them 151 pounds. They're careful at times because they've got to respect each other's fists, but they're putting on a terrific exhibition during those exchanges. He's got the pressure on Fuentes now. Another row 1 close-up. Notice how many of Turner's blows land on the gloves, the elbows, but he keeps punching, swarming away. Fuentes tries to maneuver for an open shot. That's the end of the round. Here goes the same pattern again. Gil Turner is strong. Fuentes putting up a brilliant battle. Every move they make has a meaning. But as we said, just watch for that split-second mistake that Fuentes sooner or later is going to make. The fight rolls along, neither man aware of the fact that in one dramatic instant, the entire tide of battle will turn. Again, Fuentes continues to bully his man. The crowd can tell he could possibly win it. The fury of his charge has Turner backing up. Get ready for that dramatic moment now. There it is. That uppercut caught Fuentes momentarily off guard. The blow dazed him, and now watch for the explosive finale. Flat on his back, referee Ruby Goldstein tolls the count of 10. Fuentes is really out cold, and Gil Turner, the slugging Philadelphia welterweight, has scored one of the most spectacular knockouts of the year, his 29th KO in 42 fights. He's still groggy, but okay. It was a tough loss for the very fine boxer from California who fought a great fight in Madison Square Garden before that sudden knockout ended it.
He won by knockout, but the cost of all those hard fights was starting to show. The fight was still in him, but the flame had begun to flicker. Life outside the ring looked good. Turner had been stepping out with a local singer, Blondell Cooper, a pairing the Philadelphia boxing writers ate up. The Fighter and the Chorus Girl. Jet magazine even picked it up. In December of 1953, he married Esther Hanley. But marriage, Turner would later say, was when the wheels started to come loose. He moved up to middleweight, new weight, new start. It didn't work. He dropped a decision to Rocky Castellani, eked out a disputed one over Pierre Langlo, and was upset by journeyman Bobby Jones. The rematch with Jones a month later was supposed to fix everything.
Find the spot to put the finisher across. And there is rubber in the legs of Gil Turner. Gil Turner fighting on instinct. Rocky, and his left eye is now split wide open.
Turner suffered a stoppage loss in the courtroom, too, as his wife filed for separation. Esther claimed she suffered from personal indignities during their marriage. The Fighter, who once carried a Bible, now carried baggage. George Katz, the manager who had guided Turner from the PAL gym to the brink of a world title, went searching for an answer. He found one in Joe Louis. The Brown Bomber was retired, but still carried the calm of a man who'd seen everything boxing could show. Louis helped train Turner for his next fight against Charlie Scott, and something clicked. The style shifted, tighter, simpler, smarter. Turner won 5 straight. Then came the night he was supposed to lose. Gene Fullmer was undefeated, a 7-5 favorite, the next great middleweight. Turner worked the body early, slow and mean, before dropping Fullmer flat on his back in the 6th with a left to the jaw. Turner took the decision, and for one more night, the magic returned. But boxing never forgives for long. Fullmer got his revenge in the rematch. After that, Turner's career went the way of the bruised and the brave, respectable losses, close calls, and the long fade. He fought everyone, Saxton again, Fullmer again, Carmen Basilio, Isaac Logert, Yama Bahama, Joey Giambra, Vince Martinez, Mickey Crawford. Sometimes he lost by a whisker, sometimes by a mile. Against Yama Bahama, he fought through a swollen hematoma the size of an egg on his forehead. When the judges called it against him, even the crowd booed. He'd been on television 39 times. His manager joked, almost as much as Lucy and Desi. But after Del Flanagan, a man he'd beaten a year earlier, shut him out in November of 1958, the laughter stopped. The fans whispered that Turner was finished. The press agreed. George Katz told them his fighter was voluntarily and temporarily retired. But rest is a strange thing for a fighter. Too little and the body quits. Too much and the soul forgets the shape of a fist. By the spring of 1960, Turner was ready to lace them up again. A year and a half out of the ring hadn't dulled his edge, at least not in his mind. He'd earned more than $500,000 in purses, owned 2 properties, and held a steady job with a beer distributor. But this comeback, he said, wasn't about money. It was about pride. I can chew up most of these pork chops they got around today, he told a reporter. I burn up when I see these hot dogs fighting on television. I chew them up like hamburgers when I'm in shape. But fate doesn't care about comebacks. A car crash ended the return before it began, his vehicle colliding with a trolley car. 2 years later, the headlines were less kind. Turner was arrested with 5 others in a gambling sting, accused of running a dice game out of an apartment. When police tried to fingerprint him, he struck one of the officers. The courtroom scenes that followed were as chaotic as some of his fights. Turner interrupting testimony, growing combative, until a judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation. He was eventually cleared of the gambling charge, but not of striking the officer. By the early 1970s, the fighter who once scaled 147 pounds was tipping the scales at 230. He slimmed back to 195 and dressed as Santa Claus one December at a Philadelphia record shop, a familiar face behind a red suit and white beard. The following summer, he stepped through the ropes one last time, an exhibition with Kid Gavilan at Veterans Stadium, 20 years after their classic battle. In his final act, Turner worked steady jobs, selling Ballantine beer, then patrolling the waterfront as a security guard. In April of 1996, he suffered a stroke. 3 weeks later, Gil Turner was gone, 65 years old. He'd been Philly's meteor, burning bright, burning hot, then gone before the city could even blink. He fought like a man with time breathing down his neck, like every punch might buy him one more second. The record books did what they always do, counted the bones, tallied the numbers. Wins, losses, the cold math of a man who fought with fire in his blood. But the books don't show how he moved. Always forward, always swinging, never giving an inch. They said he gave them one of the greatest welterweight wars ever fought. Maybe he did. Maybe that was all a man like him ever needed.